What's up, everyone? Welcome back for a brand new edition of Collider Dailies. I feel like the luckiest person in the world today because I get to do today's show with John. John, what's up? We're finally doing it.
Yeah, I mean, like we've talked about having an episode where it was the two of us for basically since the beginning, but now we get to do it. Uh, I'm very tired, to be honest with you. How are you doing today?
I mean, I feel like I'm always tired, but you have a better excuse to be tired because you really went hard with New York Comic Con coverage.
Yeah, it was a lot of running around the floor, a lot of going from one place to another, a lot of off-site stuff. It was it was nuts.
Yep. All right. We have a bunch of people saying hello. I see MK Songbird in the live chat. Jeremy and Steve, what's up? I am so excited that we get to talk about these three topics today with all of you because we've got some good stuff here. This first story has me pretty pumped because I did watch a little Gargoyles growing up, so I am intrigued by the idea that we are getting a live action series on Disney Plus. This exclusive comes from THR, and they're reporting that Gary Dauberman and James Wan's company, Atomic Monster, have teamed up to remake the 1990s cartoons as a live action Disney Plus series. The plan is for Dauberman to write, executive produce, and showrun. And the project is currently in the state of early development, I guess. So that is where it's at right now. And I am very excited. I'm very excited. I'll get to my red flags and my green flags in a moment. But, John, what is your take on this? Are you pumped for live action gargoyles?
I am I'm hesitantly excited. Cautiously optimistic, as it were. Here's the thing. The crew behind it is awesome. Like, as soon as I saw that Atomic Monster was taking care of it, I was just like, okay, it's in good hands at least. I grew up watching Gargoyles. It was one of those things where every day, every morning before school on the Disney Channel, there was an episode of Gargoyles and then an episode of Goof Troop. So for me, like those are probably my two like most uh fundamental cartoons as a child. So I am excited to see more Gargoyles. For me, the thing that has me a little bit weary is the live action part of it. I don't quite fully understand why live action when a cartoon would do just fine.
I think I'm kind of in the exact same boat here. I'm curious to see how they wind up going about the live action element and what techniques they use to bring the gargoyles to life on screen. And, really, if this was announced with either no filmmakers attached or maybe different filmmakers, I'd be a little more nervous than I am right now. It's going to be a creative challenge no matter what, even though I love Juan and Dauberman.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's the two of them does have me putting a lot more faith in the idea than I would otherwise, just because someone brought it up in the live chat. So, in case you guys don't know, Gary Dauberman made his directorial debut with Annabelle Comes Home, the third Annabelle movie, which is spectacular. I love that movie. He also directed Salem's Lot. MK Songbird pointed this out. I want his Salem's Lot movie so badly, and it's one of those ones that was kind of shelved and is just sitting there, and Warner Brothers is doing nothing with it. It's very frustrating. But he also wrote Annabelle Creation, It Chapter 2, The Nun. So dude knows what he's doing. I've got a lot of faith in him, and that makes me have a lot of faith in this series, this idea.
There's a lot of horror royalty working on this, which kind of makes me wonder if they're going to go with a horror bend to it. Even
Mm.
the kid show was a little dark. Like the cartoon was a little bit dark because I mean it's gargoyles. They're cloven hooved wings. You know they're like a half a step removed from demons effectively. So like they could go with a bit of a darker, edgier sort of tone to it, which that team would absolutely nail. I really think that for me it comes down to how they handle the gargoyles themselves. Are they going to be
Yeah.
fully CGI, or are they going to be like dudes with prosthetic makeup and animatronic wings or something? That is what sort of makes me worried. And honestly, I don't really know which one I would prefer.
I was thinking the same thing too, because I started to think, Malignant maybe, and the makeup effects in that movie were great, so maybe they could go that route. But one of the first ideas that popped into my mind was maybe doing motion capture, performance capture. That could be the way to do it. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I mean, like, because for me, on one hand, if they go with full CGI gargoyles, I find myself wondering why do it as live action then? But on the flip side of that, if they go full CGI, they can, they could potentially get members of the original voice cast back to, voice the gargoyles, which would be brilliant. Uh, but then, again, there's the whole question of why even bother being live action? But if they go with, people in makeup effects and everything, it'll probably look really, really good, which kind of has my vote, to be honest.
Okay.
But then, we have to wonder like who's being cast to play like who. Is anybody going to be able to match up to, all of these classic voices that I hear in my head when I see the characters? I don't know. It's
Yep.
just it's hard to say.
Yep. We're gonna see how this all unfolds. We've definitely got our eye on this project, and when we get another update, you will hear it first right here on Collider Dailies. We're moving over to topic number 2. Yet another topic I'm very excited about because I love the Knives Out film franchise. I love Rian Johnson, and I was very, very eagerly awaiting an update on Knives Out 3. This one comes from The Wrap. So Rian Johnson said, "It's coming along. I obviously couldn't work during the strike, and now that it's over, I'm diving in full force, and so it's coming along. I've got the premise, I've got the setting, I've got what the movie is in my head. It's just a matter of writing the damn thing." So that is where they're at right now. And that's kind of what I expected. I didn't expect to hear anything different, but that is an update. And because it's such a highly anticipated project, we thought it was an update well worth sharing with you. We also thought it would be a really great excuse to do a little Knives Out 3 fan casting. You confident in your fan casting, John?
Yes and no. I've got one that I think is a slam dunk, one that I'm not so sure about, and one that I kind of just want to see for like my own personal like love of the actor.
Okay. All right. So you're going first up, I think. So who is your first pick?
So first up, he's already appeared in the other two films just as a voice only.
Hmm.
Long history with Rian Johnson. It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think it's time for him to actually like make a physical appearance in the series already. I loved when they worked together on Brick back in the day. That movie kind of just came out of left field for me. I didn't know anything about it until one day I just kind of had a DVD. I don't even know where I really got it. And then I watched it and I loved it, and it's still on a pretty regular rotation for me. So, let's get those two back together for, Knives Out.
I like that. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
So my first pick here is tied to the source article that this information came from, this update on the project came from, because part of the reason why The Wrap was interviewing Rian and also producer Ron Bergman is because the two of them, their company T Street Films, has this low budget emerging filmmaker initiative, and they produced the new movie that you can now watch on Netflix, Fair Play, directed by Chloe Dumont. So it was a piece about the three of them, and I highly recommend reading it if you haven't. But that obviously had Fair Play on my mind, and one of many things I love about Fair Play is Alden Ehrenreich. I feel like dude needs to get more opportunities to go big. And this doesn't really apply to Fair Play, but it does apply to something like a Knives Out. I want to see him be able to play, to take some big swings. And I feel like what I've seen in past Knives Out films in terms of, yeah, it being like a tense mystery thriller, but also absolutely hilarious with these really eccentric personalities. I feel like someone like him could do a lot with an opportunity in a movie like that. So he is my first pick.
I admittedly haven't watched a lot of Aaron Reich's work. But I will say that I feel like he could be somebody who could very well take like the goofier elements of sort of the Knives Out like series. Like its tone is not the most serious thing in the world. He could definitely take that and play with it, and I think that it would work really, really well.
All right.
Uh,
So we've got two. You're next
yeah,
up.
my next person actually would honestly be someone that I would like to see in a goofier, less serious role. This is the one that I'm a little bit less confident with. My pick on this is Idris Elba. I feel
Hey.
like I feel like Idris so often is cast in these like very dour, very serious roles. Even the like goofier roles that he has, he's sort of the straight man in it. So I'd like to see him come into this and be able to like have him play like a playboy who knows that he's like hot stuff and just put him into an absolutely absurd like murder mystery situation and just let him have fun.
Okay. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. I feel like I don't know, the last thing I've heard him play in is as Knuckles in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but I feel like this type of play is a little different. So I'd like to see
Yeah.
that. My number 2 is someone who I think might be having the best 2023 of any actor out there. It's Io Debris, who has her first Emmy nomination for The Bear. She was exceptional in Bottoms, Theater Camp, also as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. She is just absolutely crushing it this year, and there's no doubt in my mind she's going to continue to crush it. But man, she's got a very, very specific sense of humor, comedic timing, delivery on her comedic lines. I just feel like she would excel in something like Knives Out, and I would just especially love to see her collaborate with a director like Rian Johnson. So she is number 2 on my list right now.
Honestly, I would be surprised if she wasn't in it at this point. Like she keeps popping up in everything. Like I hear her name constantly.
As you
I'm not
should.
complaining. She does a great job in every single thing. Just she's everywhere. And so if she's in Knives Out 3, as I said, wouldn't be a surprise at all for me.
Hmm.
My last pick would be this one's it's a little bit of a personal pick just because she's my favorite, one of my favorite actors, and that is Miss Sigourney Weaver.
Mm.
I just for some reason she strikes me as someone who would have already been in a Knives Out. She's just she has this air about her that I think would work really, really well with a murder mystery. And I don't know if we ever actually seen her in a murder mystery, to my knowledge. So again, it's totally just a personal pick. I would love to see more of
Good
her.
personal pick. I feel like it would be a crime to say no to that. Before I give my last pick, I'll just say Leo is suggesting Natasha Lyonne. So, for what it's worth, I purposely avoided picking names that were on a whole lot of fan casting lists. Like another name that's on a lot of lists out there that I think fits perfectly with the Knives Out vibe is Jennifer Coolidge for obvious reasons, but I didn't
Yeah.
put her here because she is everywhere. Jeremy also says Jeremy Allen White. I like that. Bob Odenkirk, Margot Robbie, Meryl Streep, Nathan Fillion, and Linda Hamilton. Linda Hamilton, I like. I like that one. And Steve says Florence Pugh, and Alexandra Daddario is another one I could really get behind. So all good
Linda
suggestions there.
Linda Hamilton is so like she feels very out of left field, but at the same time, now that her name's been brought up, I'm
Yes,
like, yeah,
I know.
totally, let's
I'm
do it.
I'm really into
Get her
that.
in there.
So, my last pick on this list, I'm going to use to lead us into our final topic. And it's also someone that I really believe in, and I'm very excited to watch her career soar even higher from here on out. I'm going with the Fall of the House of Usher star Willa Fitzgerald. So, part of the reason why I'm going with her is because John knows this. We both just went to Fantastic Fest, and I got the chance to see her in two things there: Fall of the House of Usher, which I think she is excellent in, but also a movie called Strange Darling. Please keep an eye out for that film. It was my favorite movie of Fantastic Fest, and her performance in it is like next level stuff. Before having seen that, and I know she's been in other things, but the primary reason I knew her was because of the Scream TV series. And yes, she is rock solid in that show, and that show grew on me quite a bit by the end. But when you look at the type of character she's playing in the Scream TV series, and then you watch her in something like Strange Darling and also Fall of House of Usher, it's just like range for days. So I want to see her get more really big opportunities because I am a big believer that she needs to be like superstardom level, getting all the opportunities in the world.
I definitely agree on that one. I haven't gotten a chance to see Strange Darling. I do want to check it out. But yeah, she crushed it in Fall House of Usher.
Yes.
So yes, please. Honestly, to help segue into our next topic,
Yeah.
where we are going to be talking about the Fall of the House of Usher.
Non spoiler.
I think that anyone in that cast probably could
I
slot
I was
into
thinking
Knives
the
Out.
same thing. I feel like Mike Flanagan and Rian Johnson should just create one big like cast collective and just like always swap actors and mix and match.
I guess my fourth pick would be Mark Hamill then. Like, let's get Mark
Ooh,
Hamill in Knives
I
Out.
like that. Mark Hamill's so good in Fall of House of Usher.
Yeah, he
All right.
is.
So this is our last topic of the day. We are doing a non-spoiler review of the Fall of the House of Usher, which you could watch right now on Netflix. Non-spoilers. If you have not seen the show, you are totally safe here. So, this is yet another Mike Flanagan series on Netflix, and I do need to watch it a few more times to do a proper ranking, just because I've gotten very obsessed with all of his past series, and I've rewatched them quite a few times. But I will tell you, even after two viewings at this point, this one's going to be pretty high up there. I feel like a lot of people know this. I don't really give, 5 out of 5s or A's or even use the word masterpiece very often because I like the word to mean something when I actually do use it. But if if I'm thinking it through properly, I would apply the word masterpiece to a lot of Mike Flanagan's series, and this one would be included. It is just to me, this is an example of like an optimal type of adaptation, especially in an industry where we're oversaturated with adaptations all the time. It's one that is super rich with Poe influences and nods, but those stories are woven together so well that it will appeal to Poe super fans, but it also makes sure that Fall the House of Usher is something for everyone to enjoy. And the bonus to that would be it includes so many cool stories that it might inspire someone who does not know Poe's work very well to maybe seek one of those stories out after watching Usher. So that I think is a great part of this show. And then we've already talked about it. The cast is just absolutely exceptional. I'm I'm really, really hoping that Netflix pushes this one hard for a number of Emmy categories because I do think it deserves. The one that really upset me was Midnight Mass. I thought Midnight Mass was going to break into the award season conversation in a bigger way than it did. This one better because it's about time. They deserve it. But the one thing that I want to see this show get more than anything in the world is a casting nomination because my God, Flana Family All Stars, and it's again, it's that perfect balance between, stunt casting that's a thrill for anybody who's been obsessed with Mike Flanagan shows, but also in a way where it is done to serve characters. These are the perfect actors for these particular roles. So you get the best of both worlds. Love this show.
Yeah, it is so brilliantly made. Flanagan, he crushes it yet again. I have loved everything of his that I've watched, and this is no different. If I were to rank this amongst all of his work, it is exceptionally hard. But against the TV shows, I'd probably put it at number 2, just purely because I have so much love for Hill House.
Oh, okay.
That it's hard for me to put anything above that. But this does get really, really close. I love how it handles the Poe adaptations, in that it is, as you said, it is something where if you are a fan of Edgar Allan Poe, you're going to get a lot from it. But if you have never read a single word of his writing, you're still going to be able to enjoy the show perfectly fine. And you're still going to understand everything that's going on. And I love that it was able to take all of these different Edgar Allan Poe stories and almost do a sort of pseudo anthology.
Yeah.
Like, I loved the structure of the show like that, where every episode was a different adaptation and focused on a different member of the Usher family while still weaving in the overarching plot. It's so well put together and just a fantastically crafted piece of media that I think that everyone should watch, whether or not you're a horror fan. Like, honestly, it has its scary moments. It's not the most scary thing in the world. So if you are somebody who, maybe you don't have a high tolerance for scares, this might be honestly a decent one to check out.
So I'll say it's not the scariest in terms of things like jump scares, and I think some of the ghosts in previous series might be a little scarier, but I think it's scarier on a thematic level. I mean, there's a couple of visuals, especially towards the tail end, when you realize, I mean, not when you realize, I feel like it's fairly obvious right from the jump, but when you see what certain people have sacrificed to get wealth in life, there's a couple of visuals that are really seared in my brain, and I think this show does a very good job of, again, not that we're all blind to these issues, but I do find, and I say this with genre filmmaking all the time, I do find that sometimes it's easier to wrap your mind around really scary human truths when you see it in like a scripted series like this. And there's certain things they explain and they show you in a way that you can't see in your day-to-day life that, man, it's a gut punch. It's horrifying to think about, and it's horrifying to be able to visualize that way.
Exactly. There are definitely jump scares. There are several moments that have gotten me pretty bad, but it's not like they're not super common. They're not all over the place. And as you were saying, like a lot of the horror is like almost existential. It's more dread and more just like uncomfortableness than actually like being horrified.
All right, I'm gonna end this conversation with one question. It's an evil question, John, because again, this cast is so damn good. If you had to give the Fall the House of Usher MVP award to one cast member, who would you pick and why? It's so hard.
Mark Hamill does a great job. I've loved his work throughout it. Bruce Greenwood obviously carries it.
Yeah, he really heavily. And also the way he swooped in and just crushed that role in a really challenging situation. He very well done.
Carla
Gugino.
Yeah. I can never say her last name. I don't know why.
Good.
But she is fantastic. It's gonna okay, I will say it's either Greenwood or it's her. It's one of those two. Hamill is just out.
So I love everyone in this show, and I really do mean everyone. It's
super hard to pick.
Like a really wild list of A+ Flana family members right here. So it's hard to pick, but I'm gonna pick someone who kind of ties back to who I was talking about in our last section. I'm going Mary McDonald, who plays Madeline Usher. I don't know. Maybe it's because I have Scream in my head, where I do really like what she did in Scream 4, but it was still kind of, it was like a little bit of a blah role. And here it's just like this like fierce, fiery presence. And I'm just like disturbed, but also fascinated by that character's kind of like no nonsense tunnel vision thinking. And what a fascinating dynamic with Bruce Greenwood. The two of them play siblings, and man, is it just interesting to track. And the two of them are just electrifying together. But she is one of those single actors in a large ensemble where no matter what's unfolding, even if it doesn't directly involve her heavily, to always keep an eye on her. And I really appreciate a performance and also a script where you are drawn to that character and they're keeping you on your toes in a way that ups the tension of the series overall. Job very well done.
I do appreciate that she has this unique ability that like every scene that she's in, when she walks into the room, she almost just like sucks the warmth out of it, like in such a powerful way.
What an accurate way to describe that character.
So great.
All right. That's it. Clearly, we both highly recommend you all go out and binge The Fall of the House of Usher. It is something else, and I really am hoping that it's a series that we talk about all the way through to Emmy season next year. I don't even know how to talk about Emmy season anymore because now it's Emmys 2024 times 2, I guess. We'll see. Hopefully.
It's going to be weird.
Yeah, hopefully we'll figure out what this industry is up to in the near future. Hopefully. In the meantime, that was a lovely chat, John. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it. And to everybody out there watching this episode of Collider Dailies, thank you for being here. Thank you for participating in the live chat, and stay tuned. You will have John and Maggie to watch bright and early tomorrow morning or afternoon, depending on where you live. Goodbye, everyone.